Hello whistlers everywhere. I would like to just share with you some exercises which I've been working on for fingering and for articulation. But before that, I would just want to talk a little bit about having the right kind of grip and the right hand positions and the right kind of posture. So right from the beginning, you want to try and make sure that when you practice or when you play whistle that you don't sort of lean forward or hunch your shoulders in any sort of unnatural way. What I'm going to try and do is keep what's called a neutral spine. So you don't want to be leaning backwards or leaning forwards if you can help it. So it gives you a nice direct airway. And so the next thing is really about hand positioning. So what I like to do is I like to keep my fingers as light and as gentle and relaxed as possible on the whistle. If you can grip the whistle with just your thumbs and your little finger, it means that you can use these fingers in a relaxed way. You shouldn't be using your fingers to grip the whistle. The whistle, if you hold it out in front of you and bring it in an arc directly up to your mouth, this is a really good relaxed position. You don't want your arms up in the air or your shoulders hunched, yeah? Just keep your shoulders relaxed, your arms relaxed, your wrist relaxed, and most of it, all importantly, your fingers relaxed. So everything should be soft and relaxed, no tension in those fingers. If you introduce tension into your fingers, it means that when you come to play quickly and fluently, and certainly with the ornaments, it's going to prove very difficult if you've got tension in your fingers. So relaxed, what I call soft fingers, are really important. So what I like to do, or what I like to teach going forward from this position, is I tend to use my little finger as a counterbalance, and it helps me to support the whistle without having to grip the whistle with my fingers. I find it useful. Give it a go. You may find it useful, you may not, but I know that I find it useful, and I know a few other people who use that little finger as an anchor. So with your fingers being soft and relaxed, your shoulders relaxed, and your arms just hanging relaxed by your side, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of little exercises to help with fingering and going across the break. Now the break is where you go between the low register and the high register. And so we're going to start off with bottom D, and we're going to go in triplets in groups of 3. And at first we're going to tongue each group of 3 like this. And again. Then we do the same thing in the upper register, only going up to the top B. And then we'll put those together. Once you can do that, then we'll do going across the break. So I'll do it slowly and tongue in every group of 3. You're going to T. Now we go. And then we'll put that together. And once you can do it in groups of 3, then you can try and do it all in one long slur. So you tongue the first note and then just your fingers move. So that's going up, ascending, then we start at the top and go down. So same thing. We'll do it in groups of 3 first. So once we can do that in groups of 3, same as the ascending one, we'll do it all from the top B all the way down to bottom D, and we'll do it in one long slur. So we tongue the first note and then just let your fingers do the rest of the work. Okay, good. So now once you can do that, have a go at going up and down. Now you will have to take a breath at the top. So take a breath at the top and then go straight back down again like this. Don't worry about doing it at that speed. You can do it half speed. And once you get really good at that, you can go up and down all in one go. Okay, so with that exercise, practice it in groups of 3 first, going up in the lower register, and then groups of 3 going up in the second register, and then combine them together. And once you can do the go across the break with the C sharp, we're going to substitute the C sharp for the C natural. So it'll be the same exercise. And coming down. It's a bit more difficult if you want to half hold that top C, but it can be done. I tend not to use the half hold C natural. I do occasionally on slower tunes, but I find it a bit cumbersome on quicker tunes. But I know certain whistles, you can only get a good C natural by half holding. But saying that, on a quick tune like a reel or something like that, it's easier to cross finger the C in that way. Right, so that's the first exercise. The second exercise, we're going in groups of 2. So we're going to go tong, slur, tong, slur, tong, slur, tong, slur. And so we're going D, F sharp, E, G, F sharp, A, G, B. And so we just start off with that. And then we go in the upper register. And then we combine them. So once you can do that, we add those C sharps and go all the way across the break. And then we come down, we reverse the pattern. And then, rather than tongue slur, we do it all in one long phrase. Tongue the first note as usual, and then again, just let your fingers walk. And then coming down. So when we're doing these exercises, we want to make sure that we're putting into practice the things that we've learned in the previous lesson on diaphragm control and on breathing. Yeah. So by doing these finger exercises, we're doing two things. We're helping with finger agility, being able to play across the break. And also we're working on our diaphragm and our breathing capacity to try and extend where we're at the moment and to try and get those phrases longer. So yeah, don't try and do them too quickly at first, but do have a go at doing them at a moderate kind of speed. And then once you can do that, you can then look at speeding it up. But when you speed it up, you really need to make sure that your rhythm is exact. So, and coming down. And if you want, you can have a go doing it all in one breath, but that will kind of depend on your whistle and depend on where you're at the moment with your lung capacity. So, but seriously, don't worry about going at that speed. For the moment, keep it steady. And if you run out of breath like I do, just take another breath and just play it up to where you can get to. It will come in time. So going back to your fingering position, some people play with the very tips of their fingers and some people play with the flats of their fingers. It's personal preference, it doesn't matter. As long as you're covering the holes and not getting any air leaks in your fingers, play with the tips or play with the flats like I do. It doesn't matter. There's no one way of doing this kind of thing. Important thing is to remember always to keep your fingers loose, relaxed and soft. Yeah. Try not to grip the whistle with your fingers. You don't need to. Yeah. You can hold the whistle just with your two thumbs and using that little finger as an anchor. So the important thing, as I've mentioned, is making sure that your fingers are relaxed and soft. And also think about how high you're lifting your fingers. Yeah, remember that the higher you lift your fingers, the further back they've got to come to cover the holes. Now, there are players who lift their fingers really high and they see the fingers flying all over the place, and they do it well, and it's fine. But to make things a bit easier for beginner whistle players, it's better to try and start off with a good technique, because really the further you have to let your fingers off, the higher they go, the further back down they have to come. So what I tend to do when playing, minimum amount of lift to make sure you're clearing that finger hole, giving it enough clearance, but not too much that your fingers are flying up in the air. And it also just helps to keep those fingers nice and relaxed. I'm a great believer in the path of least resistance, and for me, it's always easier just to do the minimum amount of movement. Yeah, your fingers are soft. There's no tension in those fingers. And that's really important when you come to ornamentation, is to make sure that the tension in your fingers is absent, that you don't have anything. And again, that's why it's important to talk about posture, because as soon as you introduce tension in your shoulders or your arms or your wrists, it will transfer to your fingers. So if you've got a nice relaxed grip, yeah, remember what I said at the beginning, yeah, hold the whistle out in front of you, and all you're doing is in an arc, lifting it up to your mouth to play, yeah. If your arms are out here, you're introducing tension into your fingers and wrists. If your shoulders are hunched, you've got tension. If you're leaning forward, you've got an awkward breathing position. So all these little things, they do matter. They make things easier, and I'm a great believer in making things as easy as possible to start off when you're playing whistle. So just to recap, I've shown you the whistle technique and position that really you want to try and adopt, yeah? I can't stress how important it is to have soft, relaxed fingers, and also to be in a sort of neutral position so that your windway is open and so that you can diaphragm breathe easily without obstruction. Again, these exercises, start them slowly, play them slowly, and then if you feel like you're getting more confident with them, then you can try doing it a little bit quicker. So the first exercise with the triplets, we do it in groups of 3, tongue, slur, slur, tongue, slur, slur, tongue, slur, slur, tongue, slur, slur. And then what we can do is we can do it all in one group. So tongue the first note and just let your fingers go up, 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 up. So tongue, slur, slur. And then tongue, and just let your fingers slur. And it's the same when you go all the way up and all the way down. So in groups of 3. And then slurred all the way. And the reason why we're doing the slurs is to make sure that we can move our fingers rhythmically and in time and cleanly. So as I mentioned previously, sometimes tonguing can disguise slightly sloppy finger work, and it's important that your finger work is crisp and accurate and in time. So that's why we start off with tongue, slur, slur in a smaller group, and then we work all the way from the bottom to the top in time, keeping a steady rhythm. So and the other exercise in 2s. And then coming down, we can do a tongue and then slur it all the way coming down. So once you've got comfortable with the groups of 3s in the triplet in the exercise and the groups of 2s in the moving in thirds exercise, it'd be a really good idea to start working on tonguing the first note and just slurring all the way up and then slurring all the way back down again. And really be listening carefully to what you're doing in terms of your finger work. And if you're hearing sloppiness at all, then go back and slow things down again. The last thing I always tell my students, the last thing that is part of the lesson really is working on speed. Speed is the last thing to worry about. The most important things are breathing, finger accuracy, and being able to get a good tone from your whistle. Speed really is the last thing to worry about, and it will come in time. But one of the tendencies is to speed things up too quickly. And if it sounds sloppy, it means that you're playing it far too quickly for your fingers to be able to do that effectively. Okay, so that's this lesson over for today. I'll be back very shortly with a few more exercises, and perhaps we'll start looking at a tune or two. Okay, bye for now.